Okay, am I back? Is everything... Okay, so is it at a better resolution now? I think I changed it. Okay, I plan to stream for a few hours just to try to get, you know, the beginnings of this map making down. Okay, so the stream is set up. I can see what you guys are saying. I have my Photoshop open here. I'm ready to go. Yes, 24 hours. Oh gosh, not quite. We're not the Yogscast here. Is theirs 24 hours? I don't know how long their Christmas live streams are. But anyway, yes. So, here we are. D&D December, we're making some maps. So this is an old map I made a long time ago for my campaigns, except that this kingdom, the kingdom of Trevelli, never got used. So I'm now remaking the map. I'm going to talk about a couple of things while I'm doing it, just because it's going to be kind of fun. Going to look at what you guys have, if you have questions about things. I'm also using this map template. So I don't exactly remember where I got this map template. I probably should have researched that before, but whenever I put it in the video, I'll have that research done, so people will be able to find it. So, with that all said, it's time to get going on this. And let's see how this goes. Okay, so, how's everyone's day going? Well, I get this set up. First things first, you know, I'm getting this scaled so I can see what I'm doing. Edit, free trans, not perspective warp. Free transform, there we go. Okay, boom. It's been nice, it's been a rainy Sunday. Yeah, it was pretty sunshiny here yesterday and today, so it's been nice. Let's see, do I want it to be there? Let's see. Yeah, overly edited Doom was pretty good. Good job, Joseph. It's also kind of funny because just as he uploads his sick video, you know, I'm not sick as much as my voice is a little bit weird today. So it was just kind of a funny thing. It's like, oh hey, look, this is back when that happened. All right, so here I am doing some things here, and we're gonna start by, you know, I brought in this thing, and the way I had this laid out, you know, kind of going to some basic ideas. Yes, and hello everybody. Hello to Anna's here, and Beetlejuice and Fair Barad and all those people. They're all here, all the cool guys from the Discord. Yes, exactly, in both terms of the word. So the way I laid out this map originally was, this is the peninsula that is on the top of the world. So let's see, do I have... No, I don't. I don't have the open version of the actual map of my place. Could probably jump onto the thing, but I'm sorry. Hello to HIJEK gaming streams, and that Alex dude, you're also a cool guy. You're all cool guys. I'm sorry. Cool gals, cool everything. Cool to all of you people. There's just so many. I mean, it's more than I thought. So there we go. Yeah. So the way this map is kind of laid out is the peninsula at the northern tip of the continent, and so it has these kind of rivers going through. And the idea was that it's kind of a sparsely populated taiga kind of a deal. So it's gonna be, it's, you know, that's kind of like where I do this. Like I said, I don't really have a script for this. It's all off my head. So let's see how this goes. So the way that this template that I have works is it has a base background that things are overlaid layers on. So here on Photoshop, we got these different things. You know, I can make this an overlay layer and it'll automatically look slightly better, but I'm not going to because I want it for the base. But what we're going to start with is I'm going to go ahead and start cutting through and making an outline of the area that I want. And right now I'm starting with this kind of rough outline, going going all over the place, following what I had for the land. And it'll all make sense why, as soon as I continue. Because this, the way that this template works is it's what is it called? A subtractive template for at least part of it, or the way that I use it is anyway, to where you'll start by, you know, getting your outlines and everything, but then you, what's it called? Erase from it instead of working on it. So with all that selected, I'm doing some cool things. Where I'm going to select my ground layer here and go to layer new and layer via copy. So now if I turn off this, I have my landmass, and there it is. Pretty exciting. Of course, now this can I'm gonna make this I'm just gonna turn its opacity down, that way I can see what's behind it. Kind of work off like that. At least to get some basic things. Yes, exactly. It is like carving from the material. That's exactly right. Ananox. Hacker man, yes. So I'm going to go in and get my eraser tool. Now I have a ton of fancy architecture brushes from you know, my architecture studios and everything that I'm studying, but while we're doing the erasing from the main block, we're going to be using the a normal hard brush. That way we can go through and erase very quickly. So quick question, do you make the map first or the writing and story first? I usually start with the overall world story, kind of get down the ideas of... I'm moving my hands as I'm saying this, as though you can see me. But I usually start with the kind of main idea from the writing, and then move from there into some more intricate writing after I plan out the world around it. So it's kind of a mix of both. I'll do writing, then I'll do map, then I'll do writing, then I'll do more map. A campaign I did recently, if you look on the HIJEK Discord, I had the that map of the Quan Desert. So that one was, I had the idea for the campaign, and then I made the map and put the ideas into places around the map. So it's actually a little bit hard with this opacity. I'm going to lower it even more. Oh yeah, there we go. Oop, wrong thing. So yeah. Dude. Map making is one of my favorite things I do whenever I'm world building and stuff, just because it does start to give kind of a visual idea of what I want to do. What inspired me to become a DM? Well, it's actually kind of a funny story, the connection between the HIJEK crew and me becoming a DM. So, a long time ago, I had a DM, his name was Mark, and he was my very first DM, and I was, at that point, probably around, maybe 10 or 12 or so. And it was, a pretty simple campaign. It wasn't anything crazy, but the idea of D&D kind of stuck with me from there. And ever since then, I had done a few different campaigns with other DMs, but I always thought that, I was like, oh, I'm a player. I'm not a DM. I couldn't do something like that. But eventually it got to the point where, Joseph, Heather, and Eric and I were walking through the woods one day, and we were doing some like impromptu kind of pretend things like, oh, what if we suddenly were in a fantasy world and all you had on you was what you came into what you're carrying now. And that kind of sparked into the discussion of, oh, actually, have you guys ever played D&D, blah, blah, blah. And since I was the only one who had a lot of experience with it prior, Joseph had done some kind of basic ones and stuff like that. Oh, yes, thank you for coming, Ajax Gaming Streams. Good luck on your stream. But yeah, so Joseph had played some before, but everyone else had just basically heard of the idea of D&D. And so since I had the most experience, they were like, hey, you should DM for us. And I was like, I want to try that. So it kind of spiraled off from there, and everything just kind of got really out of control. And then now I'm a DM for a lot of things. I have currently 2 ongoing games. I have campaign ideas for like 7 or 8 other ones. I have a bunch of things that I just, have ideas for and plans for that I probably never will get around to. But either way, it's it's just kind of the idea of making the worlds and having people play around with them was really big in my head. So it was a good time, just thinking about all that. But yeah. All you really need to do to start DMing, honestly, is find a group of people that you're comfortable, doing, just kind of talking to and imagining things with, and then just going for it. That was a bit too thick there. Because, honestly, like the best way to learn how to DM is to try. The more you do it, the better you'll get at it, just with like anything with good practice. Of course, watching different YouTubers who do DMD, watching Critical Role, watching Man Shorts. I've recently watching them. They've been doing some pretty cool things. That always helps. But, okay. Yeah, it's good times. Have Laura's posting that I slacked off. Okay. Yeah. So many ideas that don't fit what I'm working on. Yeah, that happens a lot in D&D, especially, when you're writing all this kind of lore. It's like, oh, I have all these cool ideas, but I don't think anyone's ever going to end up getting to see them. So, it's difficult. It's hard to kind of deal with that. But you eventually, if you have enough good ideas and you have enough time, you can eventually work most of those things in. If you could write, would you rather write campaigns like seasons of a TV show, as in you have the same people that go through season to season, or separate campaigns with separate worlds and characters, but the same players? I like the, recently, I have been doing with all the different things I'm doing right now, mostly it's more like separate campaigns with separate characters, but the same players, and the same worlds, but not the same characters. Wait, did I say that right? I think that... Sorry, let me rephrase that. Okay. The dice camera action. Oh, okay. I haven't seen that one, but I think I've heard of it before. But yeah, so I do a lot with the same players, same world, different characters. I would like to try doing seasons, where it's the same characters and everything, just different storylines. But I have not I'm gonna increase a couple of these. This is a little bit thin of a river for over here. But I have not gotten around to actually doing it. I think that writing something like that would be pretty cool. How do you get into D&D? Too much reading. Oh. Well, honestly, there's a lot of online places that you can find groups for. I mean, obviously the HIJEK Discord has some people who have been. I don't know if they've actually gotten around to starting it, or if they're. I'm in and out of the Discord, unfortunately, as much as I'd like to be more active in it. But I know that there is a campaign that kind of is happening there. So, if you find online people who you think would be interested in it, that's a good place to go if, your in real life friends are too lame to read a little bit. There's honestly not even that much reading. My favorite... Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, that's right. Roll20 does have a looking for group feature. Favorite villain I've made. Currently, my favorite villain is the one of the two villains. I guess there's two main villains in the HIJEK campaign, and then there's several, secondary villains and stuff. I have a lot of fun writing. One of the main villains he's known as the Playwright, and he's some sort of spectral being. I'm not going to spoil anything for any HIJEK members that may be watching. Joseph might be still here, I'm not sure. But the idea, he's a kind of spectral spirit that's helping out the main bad guy. And he is just a hilarious, very Disney villain. He's evil for the sake of evil, kind of a deal. So it's not like he's extremely complicated, but his kind of the way that I play him is just really exciting. He's very quirky, and he writes all these plays and stuff that the characters have to go through and everything. I distinctly remember, when he finally revealed himself as the Playwright, it was kind of a big deal because up to that point he was just known as the Shade, and he was this kind of amorphous blob that didn't really have much character to him. But then he finally was like, "Oh, hello there, everyone. It's so good to finally meet you." He had this modulation in his voice where it would change depending on what form he was taking. So when he finally decided to be the Playwright, he did this whole thing where I was just switching between every voice that they had encountered along their journey so far. And then it got to him being his, "Hello, darlings, it's great to finally be here," kind of a deal. Very Metaton, Skeletor, yeah. It's a pretty cool thing. So, right here with my map making, what I'm doing is, of course, these are some lakes that flow into rivers that become these deltas. So there's deltas, there's some runes inscribed, maybe you could say it's a delta rune. Anyway, so, speaking of the music, I have no idea who I'm listening to right now. I just have it on autoplay, but it's all so far been some Deltarune stuff because I like Deltarune. But anyway, what was I saying? The HIJEK campaign, it has been audio recorded. However, at the time, that was 2-3 years ago, and it was recorded on a phone. So it is the recordings are a little bit iffy at best, and pretty disastrous at worst. But otherwise, yeah. We do have other HIJEK campaigns that I'm not running. I keep on holding Alt while I'm pressing my erase button. Kate has a campaign that she's doing. with us. Eric is planning a campaign right now. So eventually, who knows, maybe those campaigns will get recorded and we'll have them up on the screen, up on the YouTube channel. But as of right now, it's mostly only ourselves. So yeah, what I'm doing now. So I've kind of done my my rivers, done my deltas. Eventually, I think I'm gonna do some extra things. Do I study up on geography to draw the maps? I've never taken a geography class, actually, outside of like the outside of like my high school geography classes. The way I kind of do this is, I've studied a lot of architecture, and in there, we get a lot of principles of design, and we do a bit of a study on the design in nature. So a lot of it is just me kind of screwing around and hoping that it looks nice, and then if I don't think it looks potentially realistic, then I undo and try again. Right now I'm making the coastline a little bit more exciting. The idea that, if it's just kind of this straight line coast, it's kind of less than potentially realistic. I also get a lot of ideas for maps from video games and stuff. So, I'll look at a reference image from this map. You may, if anyone is familiar with World of Warcraft, this map template is based on the maps from World of Warcraft. So that I get a lot of inspiration from the maps there because they make so many and they're all so good. So making little inlets and stuff where the different currents of waves and stuff. It's good. Eventually, sometimes you make these really drastic movements where you're like, I really want there to be, and I'm going to undo this, but like, I really want there to be this kind of fjord that goes through the middle, and it kind of, is digging in to this thing, and you're just like, oh yeah, look at that. Whoa. So cool. But I'm not going to do that. Do you like to create maps that don't have any quirks, or do you like putting many geographical problems scattered about? I like to have my maps have at least some amount of geographical interest, things where there are like sinkholes or rock slides and things like that. Different kinds of mountain ranges of different sorts. I think that some places, for example, some of like the more open field kingdoms might not have very much in them outside of their fields. But I like to make sure that at least every map I make has something that makes people kind of go like, oh, I want to explore that. I see the map that there's this cool, weird mountain range, or these cool cliffs, and I wanna see what that's all about. As for things like places with very normative kind of seashores, if a place goes and they just have this nice sandy beach, then that's not too bad. What is that? I don't know. They're obviously, depending on the way that the waves are and what the geographical place that you want is, like, yeah, you can have these really nice flat sandy beaches along your riverside or your lakeside that are normal and things. Yeah, the beach episode. Those are good when you're doing that kind of thing. Like I said, this is kind of the taiga. This is this kind of cold place where there's not very much in the way of like good summer resorts. This is not really beachfront properties. It's not the tundra. It's not frozen, but it's not like you'd go here to easily sit down on a nice little sandy beach with your umbrella and soak in some rays. So how do I deal with wanting to play every now and again? Well, thankfully, the way I do that is I get enough people to be interested in DMing that they're like, hey, I want to do this. And then I'm like, awesome, you do it, and I'll play, and then that'll be great. And so they just kind of, I use my my DMing ability to make other people interested in it. But otherwise, if that's not, if that doesn't go the way I plan, then I have a few groups that I play with that do let me play. So I have it's actually kind of funny. My family plays D&D together. Yes, exactly. Shove the work onto everyone else, make them have to do it. But yeah, my family does D&D. Well, they do Pathfinder. They do Pathfinder. I usually run 5th edition, but they are a big Pathfinder group, so whenever I'm home from grad school and everything, I always hop on to my little druid. I have a halfling druid. His name is Dan Hastings, and he's a fun boy to play around with. Okay, I think I'm done with the coastline. The big difference between Pathfinder and 5th edition D&D is Pathfinder was an offshoot after after 4th edition came out. So 3.5 D&D was well regarded as one of the most exciting D&D like modules at the time. Like, it had a lot of really good rules and good character building and stuff. And so when they switched it over to 4th edition, it got rid of most of that stuff because they're trying to make it more accessible to an easier audience. But unfortunately, a lot of people didn't like that, and so a group decided to just make their own version of 3.5 edition and go from there. And that's how Pathfinder came to be. Another thing you want to always avoid is making sure that your lakes look like lakes and not other things. But yeah, so 5th edition came out, and that is currently my favorite edition. Because although Pathfinder is cool, I get really annoyed at it a lot of the times due to just various reasons, honestly. What was this again? Yeah, that should be enough for the lakes. The rest are going to be... I think this is supposed to be a forest, honestly. Oh, this might have been a forest as well. Oh, well. It's fine. Okay. Yeah, so what flaws does 5th edition have? The big flaws with 5th edition come from the fact that it is so free-flowy. It has a lot of, because it lets you do, it doesn't give you so many rules. It can get to the point where things just kind of get either out of hand because no one's able to control it, or there's not enough for people to go off of. The DM has to have a good grasp on the rules to make it work. The strengths of Pathfinder are things like being able to really make your character your character. Well, in 5th edition, it a lot of the times ends up getting down to like, oh, okay, I'm a barbarian, and I'm like this barbarian who's also a barbarian. and that's about it. Like, you have to go, 5th edition requires more work on yourself to make the character its own thing, rather than depending on the rules to make the character its own thing. Which, yeah, it's a little bit of a downside, because, you know, you can't just be like, oh yeah, I have... Because, like, a big difference is between Pathfinder, you have, like, hundreds of skills that you can choose from. I mean, it's probably not actually hundreds, but it seems like hundreds when you're looking at the list. Meanwhile, in D&D, it's like 15 to 20. And it's like, the skills are things like swim, climb, you have like 6 different profession skills that you can choose from, different hobbies and things. So it just allows you to really flesh out the character using the rules themselves. And 5th edition is just like, yeah, you know what, just do that on your own. Okay, I think I'm done with rivers and lakes. So I'm gonna move on to... let's see what this thing have. I'm gonna move on to... yeah, it does, Pathfinder also really does work its way into min-maxing. There's a lot of push for that, in the communities, like, oh yeah, if you're gonna play Pathfinder, at least from what I have experienced personally, this probably isn't true for the entire community, but, if you're gonna play Pathfinder, you know, you're always looking at skills, you're looking at, different, paths that you can take to make your character the best it can be for the sake of gameplay. 5th edition, because it does kind of require you to think about your character as a character and gives you less to work with for making your character overpowered and stuff, it can make it so it's more character-driven rather than skill-driven. But, and again, I'm moving my hands, which is why I'm not doing anything on screen. Yeah. Sword and shield wielding monster hunter subclass. Yeah, that's I mean, that's the thing. Yeah, you can really do anything. That's like the big strength of all of the D&D Pathfinder, you know, tabletop role playing in general is like getting the ability to do whatever you want. You know, it's not just, hey, I'm this fighter, and that's it. But it's like, you can build specifically, oh, I'm gonna be a fighter who goes around and fights monsters and makes things out of their corpses and uses a sword and shield made out of the bones of this one big monster I slayed at one point. And then you just work that into your story, you work with your DM in any of those things, and you work with the system, and then you can build that exact character. And it's exciting. So what I'm going to do now is, so like I did with the landmass and making this, doing the subtractive from that, I'm going to do the same with mountains. So over here in this bottom corner, you can see I have this big old mountain. And obviously, you know, that was for dramatic effect. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to use that as kind of the basis to where the mountain range is, and then make one of the mountains larger. Have I ever tried any other tabletop role-playing? Edge of Empire or Call of Cthulhu? I have not. I really want to, but I have not had the chance to find anyone who is doing that. Which is unfortunate, because like I said, it would be pretty cool to do a campaign in one of those different things. The problem is of course, you know, like I said, it's finding people to do that with, and finding finding like the actual resources to do it. Oh, that didn't work. Ah. Oh dear. Undo. I'll move this. Oh, no. There we go. I need more mountains over here. But yeah, so... doing things like reading up on those things is what I would need to do, because I have no idea how any of those different tabletop role-playing games work. Like, I really do want to try Call of Cthulhu eventually, because like that whole idea of the madness and all that is so interesting to me, and it's just I just don't know how it works, so I'd have to, I just have to read up on it eventually, one day. Okay, cool. That's good. Okay, so now with the mountains, right? This time I am actually going to use, so I'm going to do my subtractive eraser thing, but I am gonna use my special architecture brushes. So you can find brushes online, but I use these that I got from I think that Photoshop now comes with a series of slightly more exciting brushes, but these brushes that I have here came from, I need it to be a little bit of a wider brush actually, came from a program called Arch-a-Sketch, and it has these kind of splatters and things that, as you can see, have all these little bits that make it so when you're erasing, it comes out really, really fancy. And then you can actually also decrease the opacity so that when you're erasing, you're not making these harsh edges. Because the harsh edges won't blend in with anything. Let's see. Oh yeah, so then I need my one big mountain. So I'm going to look through my big mountain template and grab a nice mountain that I want. I'm going to copy it. Let's try that again. Do. Hello? There we go. Okay, so then you can come over here, show the higher layer, transform you, which is Control T, make you thinner, oops, and taller. There we go. Enter. Enter. There we go. And then erase some things here. So as you can see, I made it a little bit more pixely and a little bit weird. So again, we're going to do the kind of erasing thing here, and then we're going to go up and clean, sharpen some of those lines. Actually, how does it look from a distance? From a distance, it doesn't look too bad, actually. Of course, how close are we going to be scrolling in whenever you're actually using the map? It's dependent on a lot of things here, so... let's see. Yeah, that looks good to me. Maybe I'm wrong. So, there's the mountains. I think that was all the mountain range that I had there. The rest of these are small hills, which I'll do later. So next we're going to do... I think, actually, next we're going to do color. So as you've been noticing, this is all this, brown, which is fine, but it's honestly not that exciting. You know what I mean? So, do I ever put the squids and monsters into the ocean? Actually, yes. So there's, over here, there's a button that you can press with the watermarks, which lets you do these things, and then there's a little design thing here that you get where you can grab specific ones. As for why they existed, truth be told, I have never looked that up. I think that it has something to do with, like, it's, like, I don't know, in my mind, I would use them as warnings. Like, oh, here's this map, and here's an image showing you there's a giant squid, so you might get attacked by the Kraken. I don't know. That's what I would use them in a fantasy setting. I have no idea why they were used in real life. I could probably look that up eventually. Do players bring the snacks, or does the DM? It depends. I usually bring some snacks, and then the players bring their own snacks and things. I think that there's a lot of different ways to do that, but I think usually the common way is the DM did all the work to get this campaign going, so you provide the snacks. But I always like making things, or, grabbing things anyway, so I'll bring snacks generally as well. What was I gonna say? Another really kind of fun thing, oh really? Say it's just fancy maps for rich people? Okay. Another cool thing that I've read people doing, but I've never actually done it as a group, and I think it would be kind of fun, would be a potluck. So everyone brings something they made, and it's like, yes, we're having a meal that we've all prepared together, and making it themed after D&D. So that would be kind of a fun thing to do. So, like I said, I'm going to start doing color. So the way I'm going to do color is I'm going to select my pixels here, and I'm going to make a new layer. And it's going to be another overlay layer. And I'm going to grab my cool brush, and I'm going to use, again, one of my cool Arca Sketch brushes. Let's see, which one? I want to use this one. And then I'm going to pick some colors. So, really quickly, do I have that in my resources? No. Okay. I don't have it with me, okay. Remember that nice characters that jump get in game created. Oh yeah! That's cool. I like that idea of making your own foods up in the world, and then then actually making them the next time. Here, I'm gonna use my phone to look up my thing here, because oh wow, because I don't want to show you guys too many things. World info. Nope, that's not right. Artwork. Nope. Is it world info? Sorry, everyone. I'm checking something on my phone. No, it's the worst. I'm so bad. I thought for sure I had this in here. I guess I don't. Just slightly unfortunate. Oh no, here it is. Yeah, okay. So I was trying to find, I had a band streamer. I have a biomes map that I made for my whole thing, which I will eventually be able to show you guys, but I don't want to go onto my Google Drive while the stream's going, and it's just like, oh look, there's me. So I was looking at my biomes map to see what color grass I had notated for it. That's something that I do. When I'm setting up my worlds, if I am really into it, I'll do a biomes map where I will determine, like, oh hey, I want this world to have, I want this part of the world to be this kind of, bright green forests or these jungles and stuff. I'll map out like, oh, this one will have this kind of grass line colors and this kind of idea for different things like what am I saying? Words are hard sometimes, guys, especially when you don't like know exactly what words you're trying to do. Let's see. Let me. Copy layer style. Paste layer style. I see that's a bit too green. But yeah, so working with ideas for things like, oh, I want these kind of snowy areas, and you know, I want there to be a lot of trees here and less trees there, and stuff like that. Oh, here's some rules card music. Okay, now I need some deeper green. So as you can see, I've been kind of flipping between using my the brown undermap and the overmap with the colors. And so, you know, losing layers is phenomenal. You know, it's always a fun and good idea to try to use your layers to make things exciting. But also making sure that you're not doing things like, you know, it looks a little bit weird now that these mountains are so brown, right? There's a few ways to kind of change that and stuff, but you know, one of the things is, of course, you know, increasing the kind of blending that they have across the board there, you know, so you know, making it so there's a little bit of difference in the opacity, so it picks up some of the color from behind and flows a little bit better into the map around. Again, you know, having fancy smancy eraser tools and stuff is always helpful for making it so it looks a little bit more natural. But yeah, so as you can see, now the map looks a little bit more vibrant, a little bit. It's not nearly as bland like it was when it was just the brown. Now it has some color in it, and you look fancy. Any questions? No. I think next I'm going to start doing a new layer, and this one's going to be the beginnings of forests. So the way I do forests has changed several times. I used to do forests where it was basically I'd go in and I'd do like this. You know, I'd be like, oh, I want my forest to be here, and I do all this kind of stuff here. And oh, hey, welcome back. So you know, I do like I do another version of this kind of selective layer, right? And it's like, oh yeah, layer, new fill layer, no, new layer from copy or whatever, right? So it's like, oh yes, there's my forest. It's fine, you know, it works. One of the things that you can do to like kind of make it a little bit better is like, of course, oh yeah, it's a nice looking forest or whatever, but you can go into your effects and kind of change how your different bevels and textures and drop shadows and stuff go. So, you know, if you have this drop shadow, maybe because it's a forest, you want it to be more to like one side, right? So that kind of gives the impression that the sun is coming from a certain direction. If we kind of base it, canceling that really quick, off of the way that the mountains are shaded, we can tell that, you know, the sun is coming from over this way because it's lighter over there. So, you know, going into this and changing your drop shadow effect might be good for, you know, those specific things. You know, making it so it's slightly larger or, you know, thinner or whatever. That way it just kind of gives a kind of three-dimensionality to the thing. I also used to do one, yeah, you can also change the noise so it's kind of calmer or more angry. You know, undo, cancel that again. This actually is coming out better than I had expected for the thing. Another way I had done my my trees before on a really old maps was I would do these things where, you know, let me do to another layer really quick. It was just, you know, using the standard brushes, going through and being like, oh, okay, I need a, you know, this brown color, right? As my edge. And I just go in and I do my little, you know, like thing like this. Kind of like how it already makes that thing there, but then I'd go and do these individual little like 1 pixel, using actually the pencil tool, these kind of 1 pixel down tree trunks. And it was a little bit, you know, you do these kind of things there. But you know, I don't like doing that anymore. It's nicer doing these kinds of things here. Have I ever used free editing photo? Wow, words again. Photo editing tools. GIMP. I used to use GIMP a lot when I was modding Skyrim back in the day and Oblivion, because you had to have something that could mess with the DDL textures. But I don't know how GIMP's doing anymore. I think it's still really good. Or not, you know, quote unquote, really good. It's really good for as far as individual free programs work. Other than that, I haven't used a lot of fancier ones. It's been mostly Photoshop ever since I got into architecture school. So another cool thing to do, if you think that your forests are a little bit less than exciting with this texture, is if we go in and we make a new layer, doing some things like inner glow, and not inner glow, outer glow. Whoop. Doing a kind of light tank. Actually, I'm gonna. I'll show you from there, but let me get back to map of the Kalan Desert really quick, because I can copy from here the texture pattern I'm looking for. What's the story for this this map, or is that spoilers for the HIJEK crew? So the Trevally. Oh, actually, good thing I noticed this. I have to save this as a whole new thing. Boop. D&D new folder. The story for this map is is a little bit still in the works. I'm just using this as a reference, this Sandshoe village, don't just ignore that. But the kingdom that this is, the kingdom of Trevally, is a fishing kingdom. Its economy and everything was based around fishing and stuff like that. It is a lot of it's inspired recently by Kultiris from WoW, but then a long time ago when I was first writing the ideas, it was based on where's my copy layer style? There we go. Paste. There we go. Now I can get rid of the Sandshoe village. It was based on Dunwall from gosh, what is it called? Dishonored. Well, that's a little bit big of a glow. So the idea is that they're let's see if I can find my notes on my general world notes, because I have something. I have like an actual written thing about it. General history. Here we go. Do 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 do. That's the Dark Elves, Human Kingdoms. Here we go. Chevelle. Okay. They are long thrived off a surplus of fish that congregate along the shoreline. It was established by the rise of a fisher king known as Chevel about 400 years ago from the main campaign, which is 50 years after the discovery of magic, blah blah blah, a bunch of stuff. His wealth and influence gave him a position of power within the Great Highland Kingdom, which is one of the three kingdoms during the Three Kingdom period after the fall of the First Kingdom. This is a lot of world-building lore that I'll go into eventually on the channel, just because I think it'd be kind of cool to talk about it. Since his fall, since he died over 400 years ago, the line of Fisher Kings has gone unbroken, and though recently a rival fishing company has begun to rise to power. No one knows if they will challenge the current Fisher King, but time will tell. So it's kind of a potential succession, little bit of maybe a civil war thing with these companies. So it's all money-based economy, money-based world kingdom and things like that. Why did my music stop? Hello? Yes. Okay. But yeah, so this the idea, I'll get into some of the more ideas for kind of using your maps to tell the stories as I get along to doing things like cities and stuff. But yeah, map layout can have a lot to do with storytelling. For example, like this forest that I'm about to you could go ahead and I need to change this outer glow amount though. There we go. I'm just gonna change the color a little bit. It's a bit dark. There we go. So this so the idea behind things like goodness gracious, this line is not going well. Oh, nope, I want to make sure this is full all the way. You can do things like making individual stories around specific locations. So this forest could be used as the setting for a few sessions within the campaign, but it's not necessarily like the see, that's not working either. I'm trying to make these little trees that I've made before, but unfortunately I don't have the file that I have them based off of on this computer. It's on my main computer. I'm trying to get these little treetops. It's not working. Maybe it'd be better if I did like that kind of works. There we go. Sorry. Messing with it's a bit hard to multitask, turns out. But you can do things like if you have really cool ideas while you're map making about like a storyline could take place inside of one of your areas that you find in your maps, then you can easily start like developing things like, in this for example, I can go in here and make kind of this kind of logo here, not logo, but big ol' thing. But now it you can see that this could easily become a new dungeon, right? It's like, oh, here's a ruin that the players may get to explore. You're just like, oh wow, look at that. That's kind of cool. Some bumbling, some crumbling bits and stuff like that. Ruins and forts are always kind of a fun thing to put in forests or just like dotting the landscape. But yeah, so using your map making to tell stories is a skill that I think I will expand upon when I can write down all my ideas instead of just spewing stuff on an actual video. How long do you usually take to make your campaigns? So many ideas, and one I'm writing right now, but I kind of had to scratch them since we might only be able to play 10 to 15 sessions. Okay, so for me, yeah, same problem has happened before, where I've had so many ideas that I don't think, like, for one campaign, that I kind of overstepped my boundaries for, like, how long it was gonna last. And we're doing, like, and with that campaign, it's having, like, basically a hard reboot, because things just got out of hand. There's too many things going on, and everything just needs to be kind of restarted from scratch. But usually, depending on the group, it'll be different. So for my group that I'm working on with the desert people, the idea happened like kind of formulated over the course of a couple of days, and then I wrote the first I wrote the outline in about like 3 or 4 hours of like what I want things to kind of go, and move on from there with kind of more of these ideas. Oop. What just happened there? No, what? This one, okay. Do the players ever break the story and force a reset? My players have not. None of my players have ever broken the story and forced a reset. Yeah, so the 3 to 4 hours, that was the roughest of rough outlines for how things I wanted to go. And then I wrote the actual campaign over the course of the first session over the course of a few like probably about 6 hours of writing for the 6 or 7 hours of writing for the first session. Yeah, that was a very rough outline. The actual rest of, like, I still have to go back and do the rest of the outline, because the problem with that campaign, the one with the desert, looking back at this, is that they said, hey, we want to do D&D, and can we do it this Friday? And they told me that on on Wednesday. So it was like, okay, gotta do this quick. The map itself took a few hours and everything, but otherwise, I'll move this over a little bit. There you go. Oop. But yeah, it took a while. But as for like, yeah, it really was. It was very breakneck pace of we're doing this, and I'm like, okay, I guess we are. But yeah, as for like the reason that the campaign had to be reset earlier, that was entirely my fault. It was because that was still my first time DMing, so I was having a little bit of trouble figuring out exactly what I wanted, how much I really kind of felt like was necessary and things like that. It was all me that messed up the campaign. So I've never had my players ruin anything, because in my opinion, up to a certain point, because obviously there is a limit, the players shouldn't there shouldn't be any real limit on the player choice as far as like what they can do during gameplay. So if they want to go ahead and do some crazy thing where they are, completely ignoring what I had determined was the path of the game, then, I mean, I'll let it go for a while, but I'll always have a way to bring it back to something that, I, want and stuff. Not that I want, but, some way to bring it back to the main story. This one. Yeah. Fun story about that, actually. The players in one of my campaigns, they have had a fun time running around, doing a lot of things, and the entire time that I've been, DMing for them, I always remind them, hey, oh, this is the same one. Everything that you do will have consequences. And, they're like, okay, I see. That's, fine and whatever. But it doesn't really affect me. Well, they went over to this town, and they were trying to find this book for this guy. And he, that they go over and they find out that this kid has the book, and the kid accidentally just burned down his house by accidentally using magic that he didn't know how to control. He found like a firebolt scroll, and so he burned down his house. And so they find the book that the kid has, and it's like, hey, we'll trade you this book that is written in a language that no one understands for this book on dragons. And obviously, they didn't know what the book was, the players. I knew, I had an inkling, because it was a trinket that one of my party members had started with. And so I had an inkling of what it was going to be, but I hadn't had a full idea yet. But they gave this kid this book in a demon language, basically, and just left with the other one. And the kid just burned down his house. So obviously, eventually, that's gonna come and bite them in the butt. So, it's fun times. It was actually the campaign that happened on Friday. We all did characters Thursday night during my shift at work. They all came by and sat around my desk and were like, okay, we're rolling stats. Thankfully, I work alone in a laser room at the fabrication lab in my architecture school, so it wasn't a problem. Yeah, I also make sure that I talk to my people before I do anything, before we go on with the rest of the thing, because whoa, that was weird. There we go. Because, if they're going around and they want to be, just play a funny game, then, I'll make a funny campaign for them. I always work in the same world, as well, kind of going to what Anna's saying. Anna Knox. You're the mod Anna, right? I'm pretty sure. I do work in the same world all the time. So, everything that happens in one campaign has some level of connection to another campaign, but I work in different time periods. So, yes, the tyrant. So, usually they don't run into each other, but the HIJEK campaign that I'm running is about yes you are yes the HIJEK campaign that I'm running is 50 years after the discovery of magic. The one of my campaign the desert campaign that I'm running right now is 190 years after the discovery of magic. So it's, about 140 years after the events of the HIJEK campaign. So I do that purposefully because of and also I always set them in very different locations. So, like, yes, what they have done will affect the world as a whole for the other campaigns, but I leave room for any sort of changes that might come in the story. So, yeah. And then my the other one that I'm running is 370 something years after the discovery of magic. So overall, a good time. It's a lot of fun little bits. I think I have an idea for a campaign, technically two, that really kind of go to one. Oh, Dungeon Painter Studio, huh? Interesting. Anyway, I have this idea for a series of two campaigns that are based on the idea that it's two opposing parties that are working on different sides of the story against each other. So I have this idea that it'd take place like in the far future of the world. So, probably around 600, 700 years after the HIJEK campaign. So things are not far future, like it's not sci-fi at that point. But it's, some of it's getting there. What is this? Oh, it's kazooed. Okay. I was like, what is this sound that is not what I'm doing? So the idea that they'd work on two opposing sides of the government. So one group would be a series of like anti magocracy style, the people without magic deserve representation kind of thing, and then the other group would be they work with the magisters and all of the big wig mage people to to try to keep the mages in power. And it's a snazzy idea, in my opinion anyway, to have it so like things that... That's not the right one, is it? Yeah, okay. I don't know what that is supposed to be. Hello? Oh, okay. Yeah. So, the idea that, basically, yeah. The idea with the campaign would basically be, that, the mages, the magocracy has been in power for, quite a few, like a couple of hundred years at this point, to the point where anyone who isn't a magic user has it has basically been stripped of most of their rights, and they're seen as burdens on society because society is run only by magic. It's the only way that civilization can endure. So anyone who can't use magic, well, you're a burden. So why are you here? Why are you a part of this? So it's a cool, it's an awful, idea for like an actual government agency, but I mean, it happens. And the idea would be that it would be spun for one of the groups to that magic is really the only thing that's keeping the world stable. And that the magocracy is necessary, that they are good people trying to make sure the world doesn't fall into chaos. Is the stream lagging? It doesn't look like it's lagging to me, but then again, I can't tell. Maybe it's broken for me. But yeah, so one of the groups would get this idea that, like, yes, actually, we need the magocracy, and everything needs to be this way, it just has to. And then the other group would be on the side of the people who are definitely not, on the side of the magocracy, actually trying to fight against it. So it's a kind of a cool idea, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know how it would work as an actual campaign. What is going on? This one. Oh, come on. I don't know if I could get it to be exactly what I want. If it'll be, an easy campaign to run, just because running these two different campaigns that are opposed to each other, as much as fun as it sounds, it also sounds like it's going to be a pain in, like, everything. It's just going to be so bad, so hard, so difficult. So yeah, non-magic users do outnumber the magocracy. It kind of... Oh, look, we've switched to Undertale music. I guess that was eventually going to happen. Yeah, so yeah, the non-magic users definitely overpower or outnumber the magic users, because otherwise, how the heck are they gonna overthrow all these people with tons of magic, right? Another big thing is that the dwarves would be on the side of the non-magic users, because in my universe, dwarves don't use magic. For the longest time, they couldn't use magic, and then when they finally got the ability to use magic, they basically decided they didn't want to. So one segment of each side, sort of way. Yeah, that could probably work. To where, like, it's like I'll do a session with the magocracy side, and one session with the rebellion, opposite to each other. Yeah, so science is the only true magic. Yeah, the dwarves use science. They build machines. They build a bunch of things. They have mechs and stuff. So they would be helping tear down the magocracy. Actually, it's actually the exact opposite, Anna. With there are no sorcerers. There are only book-taught wizards. But the only way to the only people who can, like, for when magic was discovered, up until the point where the magocracy started getting control, it was free reign. Anyone could learn to be a wizard. You just had to pay for the education. It was, going to college to learn to be a wizard kind of a deal. But after the magocracy took power, they started restricting who could learn magic, and basically made it so the only people who could grant magic, like magic had to be unlocked, basically, into you, by the archmages and the leaders of the magocracy. So the only magic users that exist are people who the magocracy allow to exist. Outside of the very, very rare, like, warlocks, who, they kind of skip the rules by going to other people, to other deities and stuff, and being like, hey, or, other spirits. Yes, it's like a caste system. yeah, so warlocks circumvent that. Paladins, clerics, druids circumvent that, but they're low in number in comparative to state-controlled mages. What are we at now? Oh, it's okay. Yeah, like the like Full Metal Alchemist. Alchemist. Words are again very difficult. Okay, I think that's good for where I had my. Oh no, there's some over there. One more set of forests then. Ooh, a cyberpunk setting. Yeah, cyberpunk is fun. Another one that I'd really love to eventually try out. I did I was a player in a steampunk, not a steampunk, heavy sci-fi campaign once. And I was this little gremlin guy who was like a munitions expert. And I ended up blowing up a bunch of people. It was great. It was a fun time. So why do enemy mages want to rebel? Refuse to be dogs of the government? Yeah. So a few, there would be some basically non-magic sympathizers, people, mage users who have noticed the inequalities and be like, hey, this isn't good. Oh, hey, Zara. So like there'd be those, and then the ones who don't want to be puppets would be another big side of that. Also, there is kind of there's a few other interesting. Oh, hey, welcome back, Alex, dude. Yes, you did. You did distract me with your dabble. The majority of mages are mostly neutral, but they they're just living their life, right? Most of them are just like, well, this is just the way that it is. Sorry, but there's a few that they're like, no, let's fix that. I don't want to be a puppet of these guys. I don't like them controlling everything. So, yeah, most of the mages would be, most of the mages would be neutral. But the majority is just so much more powerful that they're just able to control, most of the things. What was another thing that was, kind of a big deal? Oh yeah, there is also, a pretty big event that kicks off the full rebellion, that I do kind of want to, because like I said, I don't even know who is in the group right now. Oh, yeah, Joseph's still here. At least he's still logged on. I don't know if he's actually watching still, but I can check my little thing. You there, Joseph? But there's some pretty big events that happen that kick off the whole campaign generally, that I would like to keep secret from any of the HIJEK members for if I ever... No, don't leave. It's fine. It's just like, I think it'd be a... I think it's mostly just me being silly. Yes, Joe Cat, not Joe Pups. What am I saying? Where was I going? I lost my mind. Heard of the Black Magician trilogy? I've not heard of the Black Magician trilogy. So it has similar ideas around there. That's pretty cool. Right, okay, I think I'm done with forests. So next on landscape is hills. What is this? Yeah, something about a revolution. Yeah. So the big revolution gets kicked off by a big event It's, of course, one of those things where the Majocracy thought that this would stop the rebellion, and then all it does is make the rebellion bigger. And so it would be... it's a really, really big deal. And I actually, to the point where even though this campaign is not going to happen for a long time, I made an animation for the big event just because I was so excited for it. I will probably go back and redo the animation, but how long did it take me to get this freaking good at map making? A long time. I think, here, let's see if I have, let's see, do I have one of my old maps on here? No, I don't. That's really disappointing. Okay, let's see, how can I do this? I started out really bad is what I'm trying to get around to. There's a lot of things going on I'm trying to switch between. Show you guys the animation. I don't have the animation, that's here yet. So yeah, this Trevelli map, right? This was probably one of the first maps I had done, and it was, this one looks fine because it's black and white, and it's just lines, but when I tried to color anything, it turned out awful. It was an awful, awful map. Yeah, so I've been doing, playing around with maps for a while. I'll put this, when I make the actual edited video, I'll probably put examples of, like, hey, this is where I started. You know, you work on it and eventually you get good. But yeah, map making is one of my passions. It's one of my favorite things to kind of work around with. Let me get... Okay. How did I do this? What is this? Okay, it's a color map. Okay. Boop. I wonder if I should do this for my things. Yeah, no, this is like I said, I have been making maps now for a few years, so I wonder if I copy this. Ooh, no, okay, that's a bit much. But yeah, currently using pre-made tile assets. I could put together such my extra drawing skills and work, but yeah. You can always get better, and I believe in you. You know, you can keep going and do all the things. I have no idea what your DPS is like, so I haven't ever tried that one yet. But I'm sure that you, you know, as you continue to learn and to grow, that you'll get better and better at it. Because that's really all it takes, is just doing it over and over and over again until you get annoyed. Well, not annoyed. This isn't actually the one I want, because I want hills, not cliffs. This one. I'll keep this, but I don't want it right now. I want... Oh, no. Where is it? This. This idea. Boop, 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 boop. Big Damn, do you plan out a campaign with like the main goal, small plot points, and world and stuff, or do you just write the world and the events going on right now in the world and see where it goes? Way too much, and the plot ends up going a completely different direction. I have to scrap everything. And I'll get to your question about how much time would you say that took to do in a bit. So I plan out the way I do stuff usually is I write the world and then work off of that. So I will do things like ooh, wow. I'll start with the world, and then when I get the idea of what is going on in the world, I'll then write the plot and how that plot affects the world. Because the idea is that you start with a static world, and then you drop something in that creates ripple effects, right? For me at least, that's how I kind of do it. Is there's something that catalyzes a change in the rest of the world around it. Let's see, where did I put my hills? So hills are here, around there, and then all around there. Okay. I start with the world and then plop a plot point down that will then ripple throughout the world, and everything kind of gets written around that. So for my Quan Desert campaign, I had already written the world all around, and then I was like, okay, now something is happening in the desert. Something happened right here, and now everything's going crazy. So the campaign is centered around what that thing is. And yes, I write way too much stuff and then end up scrapping a lot of stuff. And a lot of the times people don't end up seeing all of the world that I create. So, it's what you do. How much time did it take for me to make the map, I think was the question. Or is it, time did it take me to get good at making maps? Either way, this map I have been doing now for a while. I actually don't know how long I've been doing this. Oh, an hour and 30 minutes. And then the other map, but the idea of how long it took me to get good at maps, it was probably after my first 8 or so bad maps, I got a decent map that I was kind of okay with, and then I got a bunch of decent-ish maps after that one, and then I was like, I gotta recapture the magic. And then I found some tutorials online, did some more research, found this template that I use nowadays, and then just kept working at it. And so probably after a few... I guess this is my 6th... Let's see, hold up. Hades, Naverin, the main capital, the main thing, that one. This is probably my 7th map in this style, so it's the most, the most developed out of all of them. The Quan Desert is my favorite map I've ever made, just because it's the furthest along I've ever gotten to making maps. So this one is, it's getting there. There's a heaven for scrapped ideas. If there is, then I'd like to visit there just so I can say hi. Let's see. Are there any tutorials you might be able to recommend? There was a series I watched on map making. I don't remember the guy. I could probably when I upload the edited version of this, I will probably mention a few. I'll put links in description and stuff, just because yeah, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now if I didn't start by looking at other people's tutorials and figuring out like what the heck is like, how do you make things look realistic? How do you make things look, you know, for a map realistic, you know, for this style of map. It's, I mean, you know, I'll always say it's all about layers. You know, the more layers you can get, the better the better the chances that things will be good. You know. Let's see. No, that's too bright. Yes, layers, just like Shrek. 'What are you doing in my stream?' Yeah, let's try to avoid too much Shrek. I mean, nothing's wrong with Shrek, obviously, but, you know, it's anyway, just gonna get off this topic of Shrek. Is there such a thing? Yes, it's Shrek 3 and Shrek 4. Alright. Thank you very much for popping in, Jetman J. Good luck on your sessions. Always a fun time. Oop, that is way too heavy. Our idea is, like, let's decrease the opacity here. Haha. 5 minutes until your Pathfinder campaign. Nice. Oh, that's what I've heard. That yeah, second edition's a little bit much. Oh my gosh, 3 per week? Yeah, I'm currently at, you know, what I think is my maximum, which is 2 ongoing, one which happens every other week, and one that happens every week, so... Let's see. Let's see, where needs more hills? Up here. Ooh, 5 per week. That's almost 1 per day. Oh gosh. Yeah, second edition playtest. Makes sense. Yeah. Okay, time to make these now slightly more exciting. Let's use this guy. Do I like this guy? Let's try this guy out. Oh no. Okay. The brush reminds you of Australia. Yeah, understandable. It is these are really interesting brush shapes, to be honest. I'm a big fan of my weird brush shapes. Let's see. There we go. So there's some good hills there. Let's make sure this is under there. In fact, no. There we go. Okay. Let's see, do I want any more of these? Just trying to make it so the make it so, you know, that place looks a little bit more interesting. Okay, I think as far as oh no, I did it again. As far as hills go, this is pretty good. Okay, time to do the next big part. So we have our hills, our forests, our rivers, our mountains. We got all that jazz. Makes the world look exciting, makes it look like it's an actual place in some sort of universe. Now, let's get to the next big thing, which is making cities and planning out where civilization exists. So we turn back on our big map here, looking at some of my choices when I made this first place. Some of them are a little bit weird. Travel makes sense. You know, it's at the end of the peninsula. There's a river that goes through it. It's nice. It's good. I have no idea what this place is supposed to be called, but I think it's Bark. Maybe. I don't know. It also can make sense. It's on this, you know, again, along the coast, but it's a little bit weird that I placed it there, because there's no understandable pathway. Like, there's no natural barrier or channel. Let's see. Put a city in the river intersection in the east. Or around that eastern lake. Yeah. So up here, yeah, one of these, you know, this city, you know, somewhere there or somewhere over there. Somewhere along, yeah, Bale. That would make sense. Somewhere by this eastern lake, yeah, because otherwise there's not really any cities going on there. Galen, no, what is that? Givlin Wharf. Again, makes sense. It's a northern port. Jokin could make sense. Again, if you're a port city, you probably want to be able to go inland. So there could be a city along in this lake. Maybe move Arley over to this lake and move Jorkin over to one of the river intersections. I have no idea why Dilla is there, or Bella. Goblin Wart? There's no goblins in my world as much as you know, as much fun as they are. But yeah, this city right here doesn't make any sense why it even exists, like, at all. Because it's just sitting in the middle of nowhere. Unless I make it a crossroads city, if there's a road coming from this, the kingdom of the south, which would be the kingdom of Mevian, that's going up to go and intersect with the two main cities here. Are you more of a fan of the draconic goblins or the dog-like goblins? Goblins, to me, I wear my influences on my sleeves whenever I think of goblins, I think of World of Warcraft. Just because I have been, I've majority of my life I've played World of Warcraft. So when I see goblins from other media, they're those are usually kobolds. Though kobolds in my head are, again, every time I see kobolds, I think that they're rat people, because for the last 14 years I've played World of Warcraft, and so I've had those kinds of connections. But goblins, they're always these kind of green, weird, pointy-nosed, big-eared, kind of weird guys. And I haven't watched it, but I've seen clips from Goblin Slayer, and I'm like, oh hey, that's really, really brutal goblins. Makes sense. Then I've seen stuff like clips from what is it? That time I was reincarnated as a slime, and their goblins are these kind of cute, just green people, and I'm like, okay, makes sense, because in my head, goblins could be that, because I've had the WoW influence. In my world, I have a species of people who are the equivalent to goblins without the kind of brutality of them, known as the Krell, and they are these funky, cone-headed people. So they're short little guys that live in the mountains and caves and stuff, and they have tribes, and they are very shamanistic and stuff, but they have these heads that are just like these ridged cones that poke up into the sky that make them, like, although they stand without the cones at about 2 to 3 feet tall, with the cones they're 4 or 5 feet tall. So they're kind of a funky people. Yeah, I haven't seen reincarnated slime yet, so I'm sure that there is an actual reason for it eventually. It's on my watch list. That is on my watch list. Overlord is on my watch list. A few other ones are on my watch list that I can't remember off the top of my head. Konosuba looked interesting, so I might end up watching that one. Who knows? But yeah, so the Krell in my world. Kind of fun little funky goblin-like creatures. Okay, so let's get these cities down. And the way that I'm going to do that is I'm actually going to... I'm going to do some changes here really quick. Because I want folders. So I'm going to move all these guys into the landscape folder. And alright, see you later. Have fun heading off to whatever you're doing. Cities. Boom. Now I'll make a new layer in there, and I'm going to copy from this guy. Is it? Yeah, these are the same thing, I think. But I'll move it in here anyway. Oh no, no! Boom. So another big thing that I'm changing from the way I did the cities when I did this originally was I had basic city layouts kind of designed. And while those are good on certain maps, I dislike them on my these maps. I like the kind of more simple, like this style iconographic city blips, I guess, that are less about portraying what the city looks like and more about portraying where the city are and the character of the city. So like how I have in the Quan Desert one, the necropolis has these kind of, you can see these pyramid shapes. You can see that there's some sort of large temple-like structure in the center, little blocks and things. while the Masan Temple has this kind of almost boat-like session. So, you know, the Eternal Harbor has this weird kind of lighthouse. See you later, Pyron, the sun god. Nice. Good luck with your Pathfinder. Also, see you later, King Yu. You're probably already gone. But good nonetheless. But yeah, so doing these kind of stylized, simplified blocks for the cities. So, with that in mind, you know, if we look at... it's Joe Pups. Hey! See you later, Joe Pups. Made the account name when you were young. Well, you know, it's cool, you know, sometimes. you could always make it a cool account name later on, you know. Yeah, it's good to have you join us for this. But yeah, so if we look at the character of Trevel, we can see that it is this kind of port, this big port city. And if we go to... Now, see, this is Han Province. It's not the full Heinz Fall. That's unfortunate. Oh well. So what we can do with that is, you know, these... Also, I don't know if I want it to be that dark. Let's see, what color did I use? Yes, it's more like this kind of dark brown, which I like better. Okay, good. Yeah, there you go. Much less harsh. So for like this big port city, you know, we can have these kind of you know, docks that go off you know, the side there. Oh, that's a bit too thick. They kind of get the point across that this is a big port city, but without needing the full port there. And then we can look at stuff like, okay, well, it's the capital, so how does you know, there's the dock for the port. Maybe not that big. Boop. So how does this kind of go across, you know? What kind of big form of light do they have, right? Might be a bit too sci-fi looking, honestly, but yeah, I'm not a fan of that. Let's undo that. Let's make it a little bit simpler. Don't need it to be that big. You know, it's the this is the lighthouse. There you go. That kind of looks like a lighthouse. And then, you know, the castle, because it's the capital. And so the capital would have a large kind of castle-like structure to protect the Fisher King. Right? Right? And then, these guys. So I use these little houses as kind of quick showing of how big the city is. He's actually a bit too big for my houses, to be honest. Maybe one or two of these big ones, but otherwise, there we go. See? Well, maybe one more down for that. Yeah, you know, it's just a mix of houses together. Who knows? But it shows the importance of the city is, you know, the more houses, the more blocks, the more buildings you have, the more likely it is to be important for some reason. Okay, I'll do one of these. So that's, you know, there's the capital. It's over there. It kind of sits, it's a little bit blocky there, so we're actually gonna go back into this. Oh, nope. Oh, I did it again. There we go. Slightly less full looking. But we get that idea, right? So then, I'm gonna go down here and do some other ones. Some little, So if this is kind of another slightly major city, you know, we can have a tower that designates a medium-sized city as something of important. So we can see, okay, well, if that's a medium-sized city, maybe this over here is another medium-sized port city, and this over here is another medium-sized city. Everything else can be smaller cities, so they'll have even a completely different designation. This one also is another port city, so... Let's put this this guy out on a, oops, just out here, so that it's this lighthouse. It's a little bit big, actually. Let's shrink it down. There we go. So this delta town, which, oh, it's actually over on this delta. So this one will be a slightly smaller port. So maybe only 2 little bits there. And this one doesn't even have a lighthouse. And it is only going to be designated by its small houses and stuff. These are for, you know, like I said, these are smaller towns, smaller villages. That exist in different places. We'll put this guy back up here for the most northern port in the continent. But otherwise, you know, generally not too bad. Let's see. Just about done with, oh yeah, these guys. So let's get this city here. I'll put a city like I had put over there. You know, another small town kind of deal. And probably a port for this city to be supplied by. So let's see. We'll use this one. I'm actually gonna move a few of these over to like places like this. You know? That's the best one I've done yet. Oh no! It's fine. I don't know what to do right now. After I get these things done, I think it's just naming. Naming is gonna be fun. Naming is always a bit of a trap, because you don't want things to be difficult to name. I mean, difficult to remember, but you don't want them to be so simple that they don't have any character to them. I'm gonna just grab this. Plop it over here. Conserve energy. Thankfully, I had already done some of these names, but let's see. Moved that one over there. That one has kind of been combined with that one. Yeah, and we'll have one more. That's over here. Like I said, that kind of waypoint between the major cities of the capitals and stuff, you know. You'll want to be moving through there to do things like that. Let's see, is there anything else city-wise? Oh, of course. We need the, you know. Oh, see, this still doesn't look great. Especially when you get closer to it. Oh. Wait, why is there... Oh no, that's why. Interesting. I somehow made the this mountain in the wrong thing. There we go. There we go. Okay. Anyway, way back to this. This is one of the Dwarven capitals. So, obviously we need to make a little Dwarven entrance area. Doodaloo. Sorry that I'm like entirely silent right now. Very, I'm focused. You know? Okay. Cool. So that should be good there. I don't know. Actually, I don't like that. Because this is more moving in this direction anyway. See, now I'm just in spider dance. Oh, this is Mew Mew extended. This is also 15 minutes. Moving on. Alright. So now what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this. We call it roads. We're going to select the pixels and delete, because we don't need those. And let's find a good block for it. This one. Okay, cool. So this is, the way this is going to work is it's going to be very similar, except that we're going to use, it's like how we did the rivers, except that we're connecting places. you know, crossing rivers. Let's see, that doesn't really work. Following along the river. I don't know why this one didn't show up. To cross over there. Come around the hill to come down to here. And this one is following the river exactly. Crossing over and coming over here. There's also, however, a bridge across the river. It follows along there, passes by the forest, and then travels kind of coastally this way. Or then travels through that village, and then off into the distance. Well, we don't want to go that far off into the distance. Of course, a good fork there. Just connect those. This one, which comes through the forest, actually comes down this way to connect here. Oh, there's another one that comes up this way, following again the river. You want to use at least some sort of semblance of order to your roads. You know, following some natural phenomena that would be good for, you know, making roads along. You know, a river makes a good kind of thing, except for whenever the river changes. Which is why there's always a bit of a distance between the actual road and the river, but the river's always in sight to kind of continue to follow along it. Passing through the forest sometimes is a bit risky, but it's always nice to, you know, have forested trails. People like those. Oh, and then of course there's the big dwarven road, which will increase it by like that as we come down from there. But of course that dwarven road does not connect to anywhere. So roads are there, cities are there, water's there, forests there. Is there anything that you guys think I'm missing outside of names? And then also... No, okay. Do you think there should be more cities? Should there be more stuff happening out in the you know, should I put more of the dungeon ideas? Like, you know, oh, here's more ruins, things like that. I missed a call. Alright, well, if no one has any suggestions, then I'm going to start doing the naming. Okay, sorry everyone, to check something up. I'm gonna grab a name from here. Okay. No! Where did I put that? Where'd it go? There we go, okay. So let's see. Yep. So we got Trevel. What is Bale? Look at that. That's way too small, so let's go. Now, for my font, I use Trajan Pro 3 because it's exciting. That's a little bit too big. I'm gonna make another one over here. This is We Are Number 1 and Spider Dance. That was weird. Boral and Jorkin. So since this was the combination of those two, you can make it a... I kind of like Jorkin better. So I'm going to keep Jorkin. But I'm also going to shrink it because this is a much less, well, not much less, but a more minor of a town. This one is... Osley? Is that it? Givlin. Nope. This is Tyven and Lita. So let's take a step back from these guys really quick and think about why would any of these be named the way they are, right? So if the kingdom is the kingdom of Trevelli, the capital is Trevel, or Trevel. If we look at the other two kind of big deals, we got Yorkin and Givlin. It seems like N has there's some Gaster theme in there. N has like ending with an N kind of makes sense, and having a V is part of their naming convention. Let's just do... Smash the keyboard. Got Sweden. Let's not call it Sweden. But then we have Asley. So maybe there's a difference between the coastal towns with their N's and V's and the inland towns. These are more, Trevel, Jorkin, and Gilvin Wharf are more complex names that are made specifically to be distinct on like ship ledgers and stuff. That way they're not confused with other ports and whatnot. But then the inner cities are more personalized. I don't know, it's not smaller, but like they're something else. I don't know. I'm gonna take back from Boral. It's gonna be back. Welcome back, Boral. You're over here now. Congrats. Another thing is that Bale and Givlin Wharf are slightly smaller places, so they have slightly smaller font. Let's go 12. Then Bale being this one doesn't fit in with the other things, right? So maybe this is... maybe we move Bale to be somewhere else. Port North. You know, like I said, that is the northernmost port of the place. You know, it's kind of silly and small, like a silly name for it. But I have Southport on the most southern port of the continent, so it only really works. I mean, it only really matches, right? And it's actually funny because technically Southport isn't the southernmost port. And if I'm remembering the rest of the geography, because you can see this kind of goes off that way. So Port North might not even be the most northern port, but they just call it that because it's the most northern in the kingdom. Who knows? And this guy, you know, I'll keep you as Bale. Why not? So you are Tivan. And you are Lita. And there we have it. Let me see what the name of the Dwarven city state is here. Look at my dwarf map. I have a lot of emails suddenly. Oh, it's because people are following me on Twitch. Ah! Let's see. So this is Baldur. Oops. Text. Gornal. So the Dwarven city-states all have the same name, the same naming convention, where it's a Baldur and then something else. No. It's kind of a big deal. Alright, I think that's good for the names of those. So now we can get another new one of these and call it World Names. If we go in here, copy this, boom, boom, paste. Oh no. Ah, there we go. Let's actually switch this around. Boom, boom. And then we'll make you much larger. There you go. Chevalier the Fisher Kingdom. Let's change Port North over really quick. That way the Elven Sea has more room to breathe. This is quite the remix again. Oh, this is another Chaos King remix. Nice. Okay. Well, do I got too much more to name here? Let's go into world names. Yeah, I got like these guys. The Dune Sea, Exile's Lost, and the Pox Shores. So let's see, is there any specific thing that I should name here? We can name some bays. A couple of forests. Always a good idea. I didn't have any names for these guys, right? No, okay. An easy one, you know, just name the forest after the area, I mean the town, or name the town after the forest. You know, works in both directions. The West Borean Wood, because the Kingdom of Borean is off to the east from there. Oh yeah, and then of course we need these. 2 Mavian. I'll increase this back up to 30. Which actually then reminds me, let me go back to it. I go back to my roads. Alright. I think, as far as this map goes for now, without more edits to happen later, the map of Trevelli is done. I might do some more edits as I look at this map later on, but right now I gotta go to lunch anyway, so this is the end. That is the live stream done with. Thank you all who are still here for showing up. It's time for me to go, so adios. I'm a ghost. How do I do this?